frogs sitting on a log. One of them fell in. One frog said to the other frog, well, you better go get him. Two little frogs sitting on a log. One of them fell in. Last little frog, he sat and thought, good thing they can swim. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Three little frogs sitting on a log. One burst into a grin. One frog said to the other frog, wonder what's got into him. Two little frogs sitting on a log. One laughed until he is red. Last little frog, he sat and thought, must have been something I said. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. Jabber Jawn. When we go. Oh, does that mean we're live?
Man,
Oh.
the whirlybird. We got the whirlybird signal.
Yay, we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the show. Welcome to Jabber Jawn. I'm Nathan Moore. This is Kyle Hogg. Steve Moore at your service. How's it going out there? Good to see everybody. Good to see you. Saul in the house. Hello, brother. Heather, great to see you. Ben, love you all. Welcome to the show. How's everybody doing?
Doing all right.
Tonight's show is sponsored by Ubon Thai
Yes.
here in Stanton, Virginia. Ubon is a magic lady, and they have a food truck now every day down. What's the name of that store down there, Lex? It's Corner Convenience. Is that? It's by the watering can here in Stanton. Stanton Junction. In the Stanton Junction parking lot, there's a wonderful food truck, and we don't normally eat before the show, but Lex came in with all these noodles and delicious egg rolls, next level egg rolls, and so we might need to take a little nap. We might just need to. Should we break away and just catch a wink, just to get back on center?
Oh my God!
Thank you, Ubon.
Unbelievable, like 30 or 40 of these things stacked in there. Oh,
Spring rolls.
Just look at the color of this. What? Tell me about this. Is it sweet and sour? Is that what it is?
Oh my God.
Neon pink.
It's excellent.
Pretty good,
So
huh?
good.
Yeah, the spring rolls are to die for.
To die from there. Nice. Awesome. God, I wish I was a little bit more prepared for the show. Episode 39. Congratulations.
I know.
I've been preparing all week, so
Yeah. Oh, good. You got us
I
covered.
got it covered.
I actually wrote a song once. When I turned 39, I wrote a song called I'm 39.
Wow.
And I wish that I had the text, because all I basically did to write this song was Googled 39 and had to work everything that came up in the song, in the Google, into the song.
Wow.
Can you
You
think
might
of
have it over there on the computer, Lex, if you want to just play a minute of it. You could cut it up over here so we could hear it in the green knob down there. Just like Jack Benny, I'm 39. Always will be 39. Child, my teens and 20s were fine, but all my 30s felt like I was dying. Sure, I know people in their 40s don't seem to mind, but it's all the same, I'm staying 39. 39, 39. You might see me 10 years on and down the line. Ask me how I'm doing, sure I'll say fine. After all, I'm only 39. 39.
When did you Google this that Jack Benny was only 39?
That was-
They asked 100
well,
people,
hold on.
I'm 39. I've broken all 10 commandments, I'm 39. They brought in 50 Testament, I'm 39. They called 17, I'm 39.
All right, you can hit it.
Too young
Yeah, it's hard to
fail,
understand
too
the
old to
words here.
cry.
I mumbled more back then. That was cool. I was cool. But
I mean, Jack Benny was
the
born
Jack
like
Benny, it was like
1909
an
or
old
something,
Jack
wasn't
Benny
it?
joke. That's sort of what inspired it, is that he always said he was 39.
Okay.
And whenever, no matter, he was in his 70s, he was still 39.
Okay.
So that was sort of the inspiration for the song. Just like Jack Benny, I'm 39. Always, you might see me 10 years on down the line. ask me how I'm doing, I'll say fine. After all, I'm only 39. Perpetual 39. So
Yep.
maybe the show will be so good we'll feel that way.
That's
about
right. Man, 39 Steps. That's a good movie. You ever seen that?
that. It's referenced in the.
Oh, it is?
Yep, there's 39 Steps.
Really good old mystery movie.
That is a good old mystery movie.
I never thought we'd get to the point where I won't date a woman 39 because they're too young.
You've heard.
That's pretty sad, isn't it? I'd look at them and say, no, you got to go back and grow a little bit.
Come back when you're ready.
2 more divorces ought to do it.
Now, so from your dating experiences, do divorces add or diminish from the dateability of a
Well, that's very situational. Some women after the divorce have had enough,
All right.
and some are looking for more and
For
better, an improvement. So yeah, but you run into all kinds of situations.
no rules.
No.
Have
Every
you ever
case,
dated a divorced woman?
Yes. Yep.
be hard not to in America. If you dated women. So, yeah.
So you can feel the egg rolls vibe.
Man, that egg roll
Or
is
just- or just,
oh.
Yeah, I wish we could communicate the way our
Hit that song again, Lex. just make a really loud noise when it's over.
No, what I want.
39, 39, you might see the 10 years on down the line. As the hound little shot, I'll say fine as all. I'm only 39, 39.
Holes in the chat going awkward silence.
I was just reading today. This is what I wanted to talk about before I forget.
Okay.
This is not comfortable conversation. This is horrible.
All right, let's go.
Jan Wenner, the owner of Rolling Stone, he just wrote this.
That's weird. That's how you pronounce his name.
I think
Spelled
so.
like gin or something,
Yeah.
right?
But he
Yeah.
just wrote this book about masters of rock and roll and people that he's talked to. And they said there's no women and no black people in it. And he said he didn't put them in there because women aren't set to do rock and roll. And the black people that he talked to couldn't communicate their ideas clear enough or didn't speak about it scholarly enough. And he's like getting torn apart now because
No, I'm sure he is.
he's got this new book out.
oh my goodness.
Isn't that terrible?
I've never heard anything like that.
But he was like really proud
I mean,
about it.
the only, if I was going to give him the benefit of the doubt, which he probably doesn't merit in this case, but maybe he had those interviews and just didn't like the way they read.
But he said he's never.
Because you can't go back in time and do the interviews you didn't do for whatever
He said that he's
reasons.
never even interviewed women or black people because they just weren't in his genre or something. It was like very strange.
That is very
But
strange.
I was thinking
That's
if I
very
read the
strange.
book, like if somebody just gave me the book, I was wondering if I would have noticed that, or if I just would be used to his Rolling Stones type of viewpoint. I was just reading it today. I was like, man, that's pretty bold of him to come out. And then he came back. Once the pressure came in, he started backtracking.
Tried to
Well,
back it.
I mean, that's his deficiency to a certain extent. To even back in the day, if you couldn't do a good interview with Janis Joplin, it's not her fault.
Right.
Exactly.
On the other hand, he maybe didn't have that skill set or something.
Well, it's almost like what he said. It's just that wasn't what he was into, and so he just, gave those stories to somebody else. He liked hanging out with the Rolling Stones and the Beatles. He liked hanging out with the big superstars. Mm-hmm. They were like smart, guys. It wasn't just like the regular rock and roll guys out there, just chugging away.
And a lot of them were writers,
Right.
kind of thing.
And there's probably a good reason the women didn't want to hang out with him. Based on his attitudes. I don't know the gentleman, but Yeah.
He was the co-founder or main founder of
I
Rolling
think he was the
Stone?
main founder of Rolling Stone. They said that he ran the rock and roll, or he was like a
Oh, the Rock and Roll
Rock
Hall of Fame.
They once the interview came out, they kicked him off the board. They said no, we can't have
Really?
him. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I feel like he time to retire.
Yeah.
Well, yep, I agree.
Now, when I was like, so let's say I was in the 80s. I mean, Rolling Stone seemed sort of that was a little bit weird even back then. It was not really, it was still the Rolling Stones and the big bands like that. They never really went that much to the underground type bands and stuff.
He was still really influential in the 80s.
Oh yeah, they're wonderful writers and,
God, my memory is so bad anymore. But it was huge, right?
Oh yeah, it was big.
In the 80s,
yeah.
like a big magazine. Do they still do that? I was in the grocery store the other day and I was walking down an aisle a little bit lost and was just pleasantly surprised to see they still have a magazine rack at all.
Yeah.
I thought maybe that didn't even exist. I was like, oh, they're still making magazines. All right. Wonder who reads them, or if they're just there to make me feel a little bit better about things.
Jack White, the guy from White Stripes, had a really good magazine called Maggot Brain. It was so good, but I can't find it around here anymore. I think just, it's like you said, who buys them, so the stores don't even stock them anymore.
Right. I almost bought one, just for the bathroom.
Well,
What were you going to buy?
I didn't. It was so quick. But I did think to myself, stop, look, buy one for the bathroom, and then I just kept going. It was fleeting.
Well, a magazine now is like $17. They're not like $3 like
Right.
they used to be. It's like
And you're automatically subscribed somehow.
yeah, it's like Rolling Stone, David Bowie's career. Oh, that'd be a nice read. Oh, $17. No, I'll just go buy a book if I want to read that.
What if you can imagine sort of what they have? What magazine do you think you would get if you were looking at that rack right now today?
Well, if they had it, I'd buy Psychology Today.
Psychology Today.
I
Right.
always liked those. I'd get one of those every few months and flip through it, and they had the popularized explanation of why we're so screwed up.
Man.
But I enjoyed that. But magazine-wise, I used to get Esquire to read.
That was a good one.
Used to get a lot of National Geographics.
I used to get National Geographic for the pictures and Playboy for the pictures. No, actually, I like to read Playboy. I'm just kidding, but they did have good articles.
Playboy had a lot of
Playboy
had both
was,
pictures and
Playboy
articles.
was on the edge of a lot of things.
Some of my favorite interviews
The
ever.
interviews were great.
It was the one back in a lot of my heroes. Those are some of my favorite interviews because it was Playboy. There was this permissiveness. They could say,
talk about
rant,
it,
they could cuss or talk about a little bit more.
Yeah, you had some great interviews on there. They always had somebody interesting, topical.
Yeah,
But,
I bet that's not the case anymore.
Yeah, do they even have a magazine anymore? I guess they do.
It's that whole culture is so fascinating. That Bacchanalian kind of intellectual revolutionary poet with I saw this documentary the other night on Studio 54. You know that place?
Right, yeah.
Do you remember that? Was that
I never went.
right? But they.
I don't think they'd have me in
Yeah,
there.
that was
Standing in line for 8 hours to get in.
that was a big thing. That hundreds of people would be outside the door, and the all-powerful doorman would just be like,
Yeah.
"You come in." whether you could get in or not was not a given, and most people couldn't get in.
Right.
And the one line in the documentary was like, if we didn't see you at Studio 54, it's because you couldn't get in. And they had this special guest list, and like, I mean, it was so exclusive that like if the Rolling Stones all showed up, Mick and Keith would be immediately let in. The rest of the band would have to pay, but they could come in. Of course you could come in, but they would have to pay. But if you're Mick, you just come right in. It was a whole thing. The place only lasted for like 2 years, and then the FBI raided that thing and found all these drugs. They were skimming millions off the top. The owners ended up serving time in prison for like 3 years. And that was the end of Studio 54. But there for 2 years, it was this bacchanalian wonder piece of just visual stimulation and stuff that, I mean, it was unprecedented. One of the partners was this genius designer, and he had a endless budget. So every night there would be this extraordinary event of some magnitude, whether it was a horse or a light show or a theater display. There was this balcony. Sex was happening everywhere. It was I mean, disco was thriving, and disco was such an incredible melting pot of all types of people. Like you see any footage from the 70s at a disco, you got every kind of person you could imagine, just with big smiles on their faces. It was pretty powerful, pretty interesting how that all worked. And the who's who of, I just love all the old black and white pictures of just celebrity after celebrity. I'm always fascinated by that. It's David Bowie, Sylvester Stallone, Michael Jackson, whoever was anybody was seen at some point at Studio 54.
Little old Drew Barrymore. Have you seen the pictures of her there? Like 12 years old, like looks totally stoned, like smoking a cigarette, dancing out on the dance floor, like she just done E.T. was out there, like, what in the world?
I mean, it reminded me that, you know, to a certain extent, like, you know, like us revolutionary freaks do bear some responsibility for the decline of morals, and because we and I still love it, but that celebration of debauchery, of sexual experimentation, of different identities or whatever, like reveling in it, drug use, and I mean that was like a big part of the 60s and 70s. It was intertwined with all the revolutionary movements and stuff like that, the anti-war, the anti-nuclear, all that kind of stuff was sort of, I don't know, like I feel like I have to admit that for the conservatives that are horrified by that kind of stuff, they're not all wrong. we do and did celebrate a dangerous excess.
Well, you did your part dating a divorced woman for a while. You lived on the edge.
I was watching that Studio 54, and I was just like, man, I don't know.
But it was almost like a place.
Like, you can't even imagine that happening today to a certain extent.
Well, like when you watch it, it's almost like it's like the gay crowd, like totally just out of their minds, you know, just dancing like crazy. Then that's like superstars just standing around to get their picture taken, you know, like, I don't know what we're supposed to do here, but it's a good place to have my picture taken.
Right.
Like I think it was Diana Ross's birthday, or like she rode in on a horse, or somebody's
Right.
birthday. They're like, what in the world? Come riding in on a big white horse.
It's a whole thing.
And then they had the moon. They had like the little gold spoon that would come down, and the moon would like suck up a big line of Coke out of the spoon.
I mean, it definitely reminded. I mean, one thing that's fascinating to me, being a night owl myself, in that, and it was perfectly timed with you requesting Paul Simon's "Late in the Evening" for the Cover Me I'm Going In project the next time, because that song is just referencing that late in the evening when all the music's happening, and just that nightlife. And you look at like how hip hop started and all these things. It was clubs. A lot of them opened at like midnight, and they brought up the sun. Like, I don't know if that happens in the world anymore, but that
Clock
a lot
tower.
of yeah. There's been a lot of huge cultural stuff that was late in the evening. It was doing that kind of stuff all night long, and it went from speakeasies to be-ins to disco to hip hop to like all these huge revolutions in art and culture that happened in the nightlife. And I look around the world today, and I'm in Stanton, and I don't get out much, so I'm just looking for insight. If there's anybody out there, what's going on in the middle of the night these days? Because I guarantee you, if something is happening, it's significant. My 2 cents.
Have you ever gone in the clock tower late at night? The back part where they're having shows?
No, it's been a while.
It's almost like going into a different world.
Right.
There. I mean, it's nothing like, what you're talking about, but it gives me joy to see like all these people from like out in the counties, and they're just dancing like crazy, and everybody just having a good time. And I'm also like, just like, I don't bump into anybody because I know they're gonna beat me up if I touch anybody. Like, oh.
I was definitely thinking about the clock tower when I was watching Studio 54, because I was like, well, if Kyle and I wanted to do something like that around here, that would probably be the first phone call we'd make, see if they needed somebody to curate their evenings there.
Good old clock tower. Yeah, when they have the bands there, it's pretty. Well, not the bands, but the DJs and stuff. It's pretty funny. I think old Mr. Steve got in some hassle up there one time. He was DJing and went outside, and he tried to get back in. They wouldn't let him back in. He's like, "It's my music that's playing. I gotta change the music." They're like, "No, you can't come in." And he like tried to get so. Steve the painter, he's on the radio
Great
show.
DJ.
Yeah.
He has a great radio show too on QSB.
But he stepped outside for some reason, and the bouncers wouldn't let him back in, and it was his record playing on the turntable. It was like, if you don't let me in, there's music, It's
Funny.
Man.
So I had a possible idea for a segment for the show, but it might be a terrible idea, so feel free to reject it out of forthright. But I was thinking that maybe, since I'm not doing my daily news show anymore, we could have a segment where where I bring like the big highlighted news events of the week for either just to be mentioned or as fodder for discussion.
Well, I think you could look at, and if you see something that you think would be worthwhile, but just to give a rundown of it, I don't know that we need to do that. But,
Right.
Yeah, if you see something that we obviously could jump on anything that has meat on it and see what we can come up with.
You just got me thinking about divorce women again. I'll
Hit
jump on anything with some meat on it.
Oh my goodness. That took you there.
That's sad. That's just real sad.
Come on, it's the swinging 2020s. Let's go. Come on.
Swaby.
Oh my gosh.
Swaby says, I think our hummingbirds have moved on south before this cold front arrives in Utah Friday. It's starting to cool down here, too, which is really nice. Amazing how they feel the storm before it arrives. Mm-hmm. We saw one. Is that what they do? They can sense, because as the climate's changing and the seasons are happening at different dates, they don't just leave on November 2nd.
No.
They sense something atmospheric.
They feel it. They don't have a calendar or anything. They just know when it's time.
That's interesting.
And who knows what are the variables that create that? But temperature's got to be one of them. But of course, it's not just that, because you have cold fronts coming through all the time.
Right,
So
they could fool them.
But they can feel the shift of the seasons. But it's also looking at the stars at night and where the planet is in this on the trip around the sun, and they know all that stuff without thinking about it. So they're using everything. But yeah, they get a feel for it. And we do it the same way. I walked out in the morning, one morning, you just feel that Christmas.
Yeah.
You feel like, oh my goodness, that's summertime. It's
So
on
good
the
to be
way out.
back in jeans again.
Yeah. Yeah.
All my cool clothes are winter clothes. I just my little bit of fashion sense I have cannot wait for fall every year.
Well, and my clothes I got these very durable clothes that I can wear this outfit for a month and a half. And people will not get too close to me, but that's all right too, except for the divorced women. I wish some of them would come by, but that's the way that goes.
You look good.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm feeling pretty good.
I like that vest.
Yeah, this is my favorite. I do like, because I need pockets. I love pockets, so this has got a lot of pockets.
Do you remember where you got that?
No. I've had vests. I've got about 3 different vests that I've had for 20, 30 years. But, I was probably 39 when I got this.
Now, the last time I saw you, you had that vest on. How was the barbecue from the festival?
Barbecue from the festival.
When you, me, and Heather went down to the African American.
Oh, that was delicious.
It was good.
Yes, very good.
What food truck was that?
It
I don't
was a
know what she
brisket. When we walked down to the African American Festival and
the
walked
park
around,
last
and
week.
they got me some lunch. And
Was it the Brisket Taco Company?
no, this
No,
was just another one. I want to try them though. I've heard they're good.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a brisket. It was a brisket barbecue. It could have been. I don't know. You got it. What was this?
Well, Heather got it. I didn't see them there.
Okay. But they. I don't think they were there.
Yeah.
I don't think. But that's where we ended up with a brisket barbecue. That was delicious.
He started off with dessert. He had the cherry crumble or something. That looked good.
Yeah, that was excellent too.
Man.
Yeah. But I've had a lot of good experiences at the park here lately because I did that and.
Did you hear about the kid hitting the telephone pole and killing
that is a horrible
himself?
Oh,
story.
that's the saddest story.
How fast was he going through
I
that?
couldn't understand it for days. The initial report was a young man had died in a single car accident in Gypsy Hill Park, and I spent 2 days trying to imagine how
He knocked
that's
the pole
possible.
down and everything.
He did? Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I saw that picture. I just couldn't imagine how that it's the speed limit's like 10 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's like how do you have a single car accident in Gypsy Hill?
Well, you heard what it was.
But then I did hear what it was. He went over a wall, and when he got out or something, the truck rolled on
Oh,
top of him.
crap.
Yeah.
Did you hear more than that?
Well, the first thing I heard, and I don't really want to talk about it too much because
Yeah,
it's too
it's-
fresh, but I did hear that it was they were a bunch of young guys that were trying to do a TikTok.
Oh no!
Yeah, they were trying to. He was trying to get out and run beside the car or something like
Oh no!
that. Yeah, that's what makes it so sad.
That is so sad.
And he was just a fun-loving guy. And they had a thing on. Well, my friend Coach Harmon was going to the funeral today, and they just said he was a wonderful young man. So it was just so sad.
No, that's horrible.
Yeah, just a mistake, fooling around, and it's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's just my heart goes out to that family
Mm-hmm.
and all of his friends. Everybody's a little saddened out in the Buffalo Gap world today.
Yeah.
But
Well, speaking of Buffalo Gap World, in brighter news, this Saturday is the 2023 World National Baker Ball Tournament. I'm not sure what they're calling it. You going to this? You got to go.
I don't know what Baker
Saturday,
Ball
you got
is.
plans?
What is Baker
You
Ball?
now have plans. Baker ball is a sport that my two brothers invented in their backyard out there years and years ago. Gosh, I mean, when do you think Baker ball started?
Gosh, 10, 15, 10. That's a good question.
What year is that video there, Lex? Do you see a date on that thing? Lex is showing some footage of actual Baker. That footage that just happened was the original Baker ball, where it was a badminton net about a foot off the ground
really?
as the net. So basically, you're on a patch of asphalt, and there's a net in the middle that is now this wooden ramp. It's like looks like a pier, like a slopes up on both sides, going down the middle of the thing. And that's your net, and it's like tennis. It's every sport combined into one. But you kick a kickball. You have to use your feet like soccer. You can't use your hands, and you kick a kickball back and forth over the net. So it's like tennis, it's like soccer. There's a basketball goal that you can kick the ball. If you kick the ball into the basketball goal, you get point. And it's a really, really fun, great sport.
Is there any pickleball like this in it?
Very, very much so.
Oh, it's like pickleball, y'all. You'll like
it's very much like pickleball. Tennis on a small little area, but you can
Pickleball with your feet.
with your feet. Yep, you can maybe see the screen over there, and the net now is this wooden platform, like I said. So you can jump up on the platform, and if the ball hits the net, that's not a bounce. It bounces like high off the wooden ramp, and there's going to be a lot of people out there. It's they used to play it all the time when they were younger, and so many late night parties, all kinds of trucks pulled into the yard to light it after the sun went down. See, yeah, this is more current footage here. That's awesome net, but there's going to be teams coming from far and wide. Lex and I are competing together with Henry. That's our team. Thinking we should call ourselves the Holy Trinity Point.
Now, do you have a soccer background at all?
I never played soccer.
So you're just going with just see what you can do?
Yeah, I mean, but I played a lot of Baker ball over the
Feet don't
years.
fail me now.
Feet don't fail me now. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Last year, the trophy went to one of my neighbors here on the street. So I was going to play with him this week, but he's a chef and is going to Morocco. He goes now to places that have experienced disaster as a chef and cooks for the displaced and refugees and stuff. He's gone to Ukraine, and now he's going to Morocco, where they just had all these terrible earthquakes.
Good for him.
Yeah, it's really cool. But I lost my team, so but Lex rose up.
There's another player.
Well, we got our three.
Who's the other one?
His daughter's boyfriend, Henry.
Gotcha.
He's ready, right? He's ready. So there's going to be practice rounds if you want to go out and just see what it's like and play, starting at 1, and then the actual tournament starts at 3.
Well, how do you score in this game?
I believe the games go to 11. Gosh, I'm not sure, but you only score when you're serving. I don't know. There's so many rules. I'm afraid I'm going to say something wrong, but it'll all be rehashed out there, so even newcomers will be able to learn how to play it. But no matter what, you got 2 bounces. Just get it back. Just get it back across. It's just like tennis with your feet with a kickball. Gosh, just looking at it gets me excited.
I didn't have to. They asked me to partake. There's like a charity event for kids that want to go learn about construction. Like, I guess not really construction, but design and stuff like that. And the place I work, they sponsor, take part in it. So we have to go do like putt and there's things I'm terrible at.
When's that?
Putt was yesterday, and the guy I play with is like a very, very competitive. We got to win this
Where
thing.
did you play putt?
Mulligan's in Harrisonburg.
Oh, wow.
But he's very like, he plays golf all the time, so everything's like a 2. Like he gets, hits it up there, then knocks it in the hole. And I'm like 5 or 6, and he's just sitting there. I can just,
Oh,
I can hear him
fuming.
like, oh, and he's like, oh, I'm never bringing you again. It's like he's like, I can just, and then like the first maybe 10 holes, he's having a good time. Then he's just looking at me like, why did I even bring you out here? I'm like getting more and more nervous. And
And that's just self-fulfilling prophecy there. You're just getting more and more nervous. That's tough.
With the guys we play, I guess they think people would cheat because you like say it was me and Lex against you two. You would keep our score and we would keep your score, which seems so weird to me.
At least it keeps everybody engaged.
Yeah, but so they have the team we were. It's 4 at a time. They had an 87 and we had like a 108 or something, and it was all me. Like all those 21 extras were like. He was like, "Oh my God, never seen anybody getting 5 strokes on a putt golf."
Is he a friend of yours?
As a guy I work with, yeah. But he's like one of these competitors and really good at stuff. He'd like, no matter what the hole, he'd hit it to like this far of the hole, then knock it in. Like, all right, Kyle, you're next. In the water, over in the grass, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, it's 4, good shot, thanks."
Oh, it's a big weekend. This big festival going on in Stanton for Saturday and Sunday called Magic and Mischief. It started off as the Harry Potter festival years ago, and I mean it's almost reminiscent of the old 4th of July celebrations. Just the sheer amount of people that come from far away to attend this event. I think they got in some copyright issues with Harry Potter, and so they changed it to Magic and Mischief. But that's going to be going on all downtown Saturday and Sunday here in Stanton. So if you have a little wizard in you looking to get out, there's going to be, they really do it up. They do all kinds of things with that. Different characters from Harry Potter, people dressing up, and is Demery doing that? He's got to.
Yeah,
right?
well, I think he had a falling out with somebody.
Uh-oh.
So he's not Hagar or whatever.
Oh,
anymore.
I shouldn't have. Oops.
But I always forget how old the book. The book's like 20 years old now or something. So I always go down there expecting to see little kids walking around dressed like Harry Potter, but it's kids that were like 12 when they read it, so they're all like in their 30s now. So it's all these young men and women dressed in like little school outfits and Harry Potter glasses and stuff.
Did you read any of the Harry Potter series?
I read them, yeah.
You read all of them?
I think so at the time.
Wow. Were they good?
Yeah, they were
I never read them.
They were entertaining. They took me away.
Uh-huh.
Joe's the one that got into it more.
Oh, right.
He's totally in not just Harry Potter, but any of the
Did you read them to
stuff.
him, or did you read them on your own?
I don't
accord?
remember what I read to him. I was just trying to think there, but I don't know if I read Harry Potter or if he read that himself. I read him stuff when he was younger, but I don't know if it was Harry Potter or earlier. What were some of the ones? I did Watership Down. I did the rabbit thing with Watership Down, and I think Daniel was reading Watership Down to his girls the other night. That brought back a lot of memories.
What's the title mean? I forget that book.
Oh, that's just a place where they were.
Oh,
It's about a rabbit warren in England, and
a rabbit. What?
Warren.
Oh, that was his name.
That's my middle name is Warren.
It is.
But a warren is a rabbit group. The rabbits over there were different than our rabbits. They form like in colonies, and they have each little hole. They'll find a good area, and they'll all live in this one area, and that's called a warren. All the holes connect, and they all know each other. So they have this whole underground world.
Is that true in real life?
Yeah. Yeah, that's what a warren is.
Wow.
How old is that book, do you think? I read that when I was in high school, but it seems like one of those books that can just stay popular forever.
I don't know. That's a good question, but it goes back to the 80s and 70s.
Yeah.
But, yeah, and I don't remember how old the Harry Potters are, so I don't know if I read that to him or he read it himself. But I read him some of before Harry Potter, some of the other fantasy things.
Shades of
Definitely
Grey.
Tolkien. the classics. Oh my goodness,
What did he say?
nothing. He didn't say anything.
He didn't?
Nope.
Thought I heard something. Yeah, Tolkien was that. I guess that was the main one. I did read that too.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one that Joe's mainly into.
Yeah, that profoundly influenced his life.
Oh yeah,
And still to this day,
definitely.
he's known to wield a wand or a sword just at parties.
Well, we don't know that. He might do it in his everyday life.
That's true. That's true. I just see him at parties.
It is weird though. Like, I remember when I read it, I was so into it. But I mean, then I moved on. But it's like some people just get into that, and that just it really sticks with them. Like my two brother-in-laws, they they can still repeat, they know all the characters' names and all that stuff. But I remember when I was actually reading them, once you read one, like you got to get the next one. You can't put them down. You're like you just disappear into that world for like a couple of months.
And it really like becomes a whole mythology.
Yeah.
Like you learn so much from it. Like that's
Yeah.
your. For me, it was Star Wars.
Oh yeah.
And I mean that it's you can't understate the impact of a mythology like that. Like I learned so many life lessons or archetypes that I learned through that. Good versus evil and heroes and the force and unseen energies and oh man. So before we get too far away from it, I just so happened to have put this list in my notes for the show tonight, and you just brought up a warren as a group of rabbits. I have a list here of the names they have for groups of animals. So I'm going to say the name, and y'all tell me what animal that's a group of.
Okay.
A congregation.
Geese.
Not geese.
What? What did he
I
say?
said
Geese.
geese.
No, congregation.
Gotta be a bird.
Some kind of bird. I don't
A
know.
congregation of alligators.
Alligators. I never heard of that.
A shrewdness. Shrewdness.
Oh, come on.
I know, right?
Weasels.
A shrewdness of
Chipmunks.
apes. A cauldron. This is good for magic and mischief. A
Cauldron.
cauldron of...
Bats.
Yes. Ding, ding, ding. All right, 1 point to Dad.
Okay, come on,
I was
man.
gonna say bumblebees.
A sleuth.
A sleuth.
Or snakes.
No.
Lizards.
Bears.
Who's making this stuff
A
up?
clouder.
Clouder.
Clowder.
That's clams. Clams clouder, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
Clam clouder.
Gets half credit for that.
Cats.
Cat.
No, I've never heard anybody say a
All right,
cat
this one's
clouder.
gonna be
See,
timing.
they're just making.
No, it's just a legit list. I got it off the internet. Come on.
Oh, never
It's from
mind.
Harry
A
Potter.
murder.
Of crows.
Bam. Ding, ding, ding. We got 1-1.
I have a murder story.
Oh, you do? All
Yeah.
right. Bookmark that real quick.
I might have, if I told it last week.
About crows or just about murder?
About crows.
Oh, okay.
It's a long list, so I won't do them all, but we'll play to 3.
Okay.
A
One-
pace. A pace of
Camel.
donkeys.
Oh,
Not too
man.
far off. A business.
Lawyers.
A business of
Bees.
ferrets.
Ferrets.
I know you never
Well, I
seen
said
two ferrets
lawyers.
together.
A
That ought to
s-
get me something.
A skulk. That is close. It's almost a half point.
What, a skunk?
A skulk. Skulk.
Raccoons.
Fox.
Owls.
A horde.
Bees.
A horde of, I like that.
Divorced women.
Gerbils.
With some meat on them.
A tower of
Babylon.
Tower. Pigeons.
giraffes.
Oh, that's sort of cool.
A bloat of
This is from some kid's fantasy book. These aren't even real words.
I've never heard any of
I
them
know.
used in the context of anything
A bloat of hippos.
except murder.
yes.
Oh,
ding
my
ding
God.
ding. 2 points.
Oh my.
All right, here we go. A cackle.
Geese.
A cackle. That is some kind of farm bird. Chicken.
Hyenas.
Oh wow.
All right, a parliament.
Owls.
Yes. Ding, ding,
God,
ding. All right, 2-2. Here we
Yeah.
go. A nursery.
Flamingos.
A nursery of beavers.
Raccoons. Not too
Ah,
far.
so
Raccoons.
A mischief of
Kookaburras.
A mischief of little. That's like foxes too, I would think. Little wolves. I don't
rats.
know. Oh,
Yeah.
A pod.
Whales.
Bam.
God.
Folks,
you
we have a
got
winner.
it.
Ding, ding, ding.
I was gonna say a pot of coworkers.
All right, for your prize for winning that is, and because you got Parliament, that's a good segue maybe for your bird today.
Okay, let's do the bird. You ready, Lex?
Bird.
That bird is the word. The word today is screech owl.
Screech owls.
The good old screech owl. And of course, we all
We
know.
have those?
Oh yeah, yeah. They're their most common owl. If you see a little owl, it's a screech owl.
Oh,
They're about 7 to 10 inches. They're the little owl that we have around here. If you see a great big
7
owl,
to 10 inches.
That seems small.
yeah, they're about this.
Wow.
They're little. And, yeah, they're a little compact, 7 to 10 inches. And if you see a big owl, that's a great horned owl.
Oh,
Now
which even has the
they have,
cool.
yeah, the screech owl has those too, just tufts. It
Are
just-
those ears?
they're tufts of feathers that break up their outline so that they can blend in more. They have unbelievable camouflage. You can probably find a good picture, Lex, of a screech owl on a tree where and it shows you can hardly even see the owl because of the coloration.
Camouflage. It's
Yeah.
exactly like the picture he's showing right now.
That's what I saw too. So that tuft kind of just gives them a blend-in thing, so it doesn't look like an outline. They have amazing hearing. They do a lot of they of course they have the big eyes.
Now, if those aren't their ears, where do they hear from? If they just have.
The ears are in there underneath their feathers, and they
So it's not really anything out. It's just
no,
into the.
they
Okay.
just have very sensitive ears.
Because I always thought that was their
The
ears.
barn
too.
owl, which is the bigger owl with the round face, doesn't have the tufts. They're light colored.
We have those too, right?
We have those, but you don't see them too often. But the barn owl, he can literally hear a mouse in the total darkness
Wow.
and fly down and know what direction it's walking and catch it and eat it
In the dark.
in the dark.
Wow.
Now, the other owls,
That's not eyes. I
he,
mean, I'm sure
he
some-
uses his eyes, but if he doesn't have them. Now, screech owl, that's most of the owls hunt in the dusk and the dawn. They don't hunt in the middle of the night, but they can. And if it's a full moon, they can. But they have good hearing too, and they use their hearing in the night. But they use some of the light. They obviously have very good eyes. And their eyes, here's the thing I always think, when they talk about, why do you think they have the reputation for being wise? Why do you think? Where of all the birds,
Because their face looks more human.
I think that's it completely.
Mm-hmm.
They have
It's like
the
a flat
eyes in the
face.
front of their face.
Eyes in the front of the
Most
face.
of the animals have their eyes over here. The birds,
So it's just the human ego projecting that onto
yeah. Plus, they sit up in there and don't say anything stupid.
It,
Then somebody, a human being like me, I'll look intelligent and then I'll talk. and
Now what is
Ruin it.
ruin it.
now what is a screech? Do they make a screech sound, or why do they call it screech owls?
They do make a screechy sound. It's not really a screech though. It's a brah, 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 but I can't. Maybe Lex can get the sound of it. But you've heard they have a song, but you don't hear that too often. But they will call, and it's just like a syllable, and then it'll come back. And but it's
Pruitt
a
Reservoir.
screechy. It's a
526.
if you hear it, you've heard it before.
Eastern Screech Owl.
And most of us have grown up hearing it at night because there's not much else. You're laying in bed and you hear an owl. It's a screech owl. But they are nocturnal. They nest in old holes in trees from woodpeckers and squirrel nests, and so they like
We had one of these outside our house the other night. I can tell by the sound of it. Oh, he's playing the audio now too.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people.
That's the screech.
That's a screech owl.
Yeah, I hear that.
Yeah, we heard that. Look at that thing. That is so cool looking. Boy, the camouflage.
It's amazing.
That's a whole conversation in and of itself. Just the way animals have evolved to blend in with the environment is such a trip.
Yeah, they're amazing. They blend right in with certain trees.
Look at that. You can hardly see them.
They have a brown phase and a gray phase around here. It's the screech owl.
What phase?
Well, a coloration.
You mean two different birds? They don't change colors?
No,
in the
no. But
seasons,
yeah,
or-
two different birds can be born and have the different coloration. It's probably genetic family, so one family's gray and the other ones are reddish.
Does their head actually swivel different than other birds? Or is it just because...
They have 14 vertebrae in their neck, where we have 7.
Wow.
Giraffe has 7. Everything else has 7, but they have 14, which allows them not to go completely around, but they can go 270 degrees. So they can go all the way around to here and then all the way back around.
Wow.
So they can see everything
Pretty much, right.
once they start swiveling. But 270 degrees is how much they can turn, just like that. So it looks like they're just going all the way around, but they're not going all the way around.
Right.
They have to go and then come back. But
Well, 270 ties in perfect with our 39th show. It's 3/4 of 360, and we're 3/4 of 52 weeks now.
It's a second. Nailed it. Rain Man over here.
because we're 3/4 of a year, 39 to 52. And so the screech owl can go 270 into 360, so that's 3/4. Help me, Lex. Come on, help me. Give me a rim shot or something. Do something over there.
Or maybe like a, ooh.
Sir, it's time to leave. Come
Rain
on.
Man, I love it.
No, but an owl does seem serious. You don't see like owls like hopping around the yard,
Frolicking.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
or
they don't
like
frolic.
with
Never
the other
seen one
ones
frolic.
messing
They
around.
don't frolic. But well, who knows? Late at night, they have a Studio
Those
39 up there in a tree, and you don't know what they're going to do up there.
Well, because
But you have never been invited.
Yeah, you've never, we don't go where they hang out.
No, yeah, they wouldn't let you in.
Do they nest?
Well, the female, they do. Are they monogamous? That's a good thing.
I always love that.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
For life?
Well, it's for whatever life they have, yeah, I
Right.
guess. As long as they can. As long as they can stand each other. But they have a couple babies, 2 or 3 eggs, and they raise them in. They have a little nest, but they don't do much nesting.
They
But,
do that every year?
oh yeah, every season, just like the other birds, and they'll raise a little. I mean, many's the time when you look up in the tree and you see the hole, you'll see all 3 of them looking out at the same time. I've seen that before. that's quite a sight. But of course, they're predators, and they're hunting small mammals, mice, rats. They're great for that. You know, all the farmers want to have a barn owl in their barn to keep the rats down. And so the owls are good in terms of, they eat insects and small birds. They will catch a bird. They will catch a starling now and then, but the starlings will also gang up on them and run them away. Now, sometimes you'll hear the blue jays and the crows acting up, and that's when they've discovered an owl. A lot of times, or a hawk, and if they see a raptor, a predatory bird, they'll get all the crows around and yell at them until they go away. Harass them.
I think of a owl like being like almost straight up and down. Like I think of other birds having its feet and then like a tail and stuff. I don't even really know. Is an owl more straight up and down, or does it have that?
It is more straight up and down. It has a shorter tail. You know, it's all about flying at night. I think when you analyze their feathers, they have a different kind of feather than other birds, so that when they fly, their wings don't make any noise.
Oh my gosh!
And they have little different shaped feathers to create that non-sound.
Oh my God,
Wow.
that's incredible.
And so I read that.
And that helps them in their
when
stealth
they're hunting.
hunting.
And the
And it
mice,
probably doesn't interfere with their own hearing of the what they're
exactly.
pursuing.
Yeah, good point. But that, you know, you can't hear them flying in them. If you're a mouse, you can't hear them
Wow.
until that talon grabs you.
We're giving Chad galactic nightmares right now. Or maybe not, because it's a flapping phobia. So maybe
Well, he would never hear it.
Yeah.
So yes,
It's probably not as scary to him.
yeah, exactly. But is there any other questions about screech
Do they
owl?
migrate?
Not significantly, no. And there's an eastern screech owl that goes all the way to the Rocky Mountains, and then on the other side of the mountain there's a western screech owl, and they're all localized. And you know, different types of owls live in South America too, but screech owls are pretty regular, but I don't think they migrate per se. It makes sense because, you know, a lot of wintertime's a good time to hunt for mice because they have to, if it's snowy, or they'll have to come out of their holes and stuff. So they stick around since they're feeding on things that are still around.
So I guess from the term night owl, they come out mostly in the dark. They stay in their
Well,
nest.
they are known to be nocturnal. You don't see them flying around in the daytime at all. So they'll come out at dusk, and they're not as active in the middle of the night, but they are active. So they are nocturnal.
So night owl is a legit idea.
When they don't call a night owl, they call them owls. They call you a night owl because you're like an owl, that you're up all night.
So maybe just put that picture up in the Discord.
Isn't that something?
What is that? What is
That's
that?
a little screech owl.
That's a screech owl?
That's definitely a screech owl. And that's the gray phase I was talking about.
Why do you call it phase?
Well, it's just a color pattern. It's a phase I don't know.
But that sounds like they change.
Right.
Is it with the PH, or is it like PHASE?
Oh my goodness, the second you took this picture, I zoomed in, I was like, there's no owl in this picture. Find the owl in that picture. Holy moly, that is cool. You took that, Swaby?
Oh my goodness.
You found it?
That's almost perfect.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of those.
If I have to zoom in.
Was an owl in here somewhere?
There's an owl in there. A big one.
Yeah, that's perfect camouflage.
I don't see it.
Zoom in.
I think it's gonna be like a joke. It's gonna squirt water. Oh, it's looking right at me.
Isn't that cool?
That's the way Swaby was in his picture today. He was like looking right at me.
In his
God, that's scary.
picture today?
He sent me a peace sign.
Oh yeah, is that gone viral yet? Tell the story about that post. Catherine and I participated.
Oh, I loved y'all's picture. That was like the first really happy one. I don't even know. I was looking at some pictures of like just these people from the '60s. Were like really, there was like that sign that meant something. Like, you know, I'm part of a group that's trying to change the world. I mean, everybody now is like, hey, peace. But these people were like, you know, like it really meant something. You know, like it was really cool. And for some reason, that just sparked some, I don't know what it sparked some interest. But I didn't think anybody would do it. But every time somebody would do it, I was like, yeah, I'm so happy. You know.
Someone commented on there they thought it could go viral. And
Oh yeah.
I feel like that's absolutely true.
That was pretty funny. Some of the people that were doing it.
So talk about what the post was for people that don't know what we're talking about.
I was sitting at home, you know, had taken some enjoyment chemicals and was just sitting there flipping through the phone. It was all these pictures of like Jim. The first one I remember was Jim Croce. He was like just giving this peace sign that was so. It was almost like when you see like NWA or something. They would give these gang signs that really meant something. Like this is who we are. Mm-hmm. But it was like, you know, in the '60s, we're like, this is who we are. We're coming to change the world and make it a better place. It wasn't just like for fun. You're like, hey, peace. It was like, you know, this stands for something and I mean something when I do this. It was sort of like a powerful, you know, I mean, the way I was looking at it. And it just seemed like that's sort of gone away now. And I was just like, man, that's so cool to do the peace sign. I was like, I wonder if I can get anybody to do so. And then people just started putting them on there.
So he encouraged everybody to take a picture on their phone and flashing the peace symbol to share in the thread. So Catherine and I got right on it. She was hesitant at first. I don't want to be on Facebook. I'm like, come on, it's a peace sign for Kyle. She's like, okay. Why don't we all give a little Jabber Jawn peace symbol?
Yeah,
I'll take a
peace.
Screenshot and put it in your thread there to boost it up.
And I would like to say that we miss you, Kethra.
Yes.
Yeah.
She is speaking at a conference.
She's
Representing.
She's giving
Good
the
for
peace
them,
sign
bad
somewhere
for
else.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which also made me think that we might need a Jim Croce song in the list.
Oh, definitely.
He's such a good one.
Oh, he's great.
I feel like Rick Cook told a story of seeing Jim Croce for 25 cents at his college back in the day. It was a quarter.
Wow.
What's the first Jim Croce song that comes to your mind for me to possibly do?
Oh, I don't have anything on my mind. I don't want you to do Leroy Brown.
Right.
But he has some beautiful, slower stuff.
He really does.
I always liked Jim Croce.
I love his mix. It was either like an upbeat, funny song or this like awesome ballad. But he definitely had some hits with his.
I'm going to deep dive Jim Croce tonight.
You don't hear songs like that. Real character depictions, storytelling. He was just like Rapid Roy's stock car boy. Too much to believe. He always had an extra pack of cigarettes rolled up in his T-shirt sleeve. He had a tattoo on his arm that said "baby." He had another one that just said "hey." Every Saturday afternoon, he was a dirt track demon in a '57 Chevrolet. It's like,
I love it.
I want to write songs like that when I grow up.
Yeah,
But then, operator, can you help me make this call?
yeah, that was the classic.
No, when he got sick
Was
and
he-
passed away, what happened to him?
That's a
He
good
was
question.
in a wreck, I think.
Oh,
I think he got killed in a wreck.
How about Cat Stevens? Were you a Cat Stevens fan?
he
Oh,
was
definitely.
one of my. He was probably the first person I emulated. Tried to sound like.
That one album he has, and we used to listen to that like I can't think of the T. Was it the T and the Tillerman? Is that him?
T for the Tillerman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Give me T for the.
That'll knock you
yeah,
off
that-
your feet, man.
That whole album.
Yeah, that was excellent.
He was so good. What an interesting story. Then he converted to Islam.
Yeah.
And then he supported the death fatwa against Salman Rushdie, which was such a fascinating turn of events. He was asked, do you remember that scandal where he came out and supported the the death sentence fought off against Salman Rushdie for a book that he had written, which was so inconceivable for the peace train guy, who was like just an active. I mean, he was a living, walking, breathing peace sign as an artist. And but it seems like he's come full circle. He's back to singing again and trying to bring magic and love into the world.
He was probably interviewed in Playboy when he said that. It seems like one of the places you would read it.
Right.
Cat Stevens says he wants Salman Rushdie dead.
I gotta say, he came back out. I think it was during the pandemic or something, and did a performance, and I was very pleased to hear him sound just as good as ever. I mean, his voice was right there.
What is it?
What a
Yusuf?
voice.
What is his name now?
Yusuf.
Yeah, Yusuf something.
Something.
Yusuf Lakats or something like that. Yeah. Now, did either one of y'all ever read the Rushdie book, the Islamic? What was it called?
What was
the,
that?
I never read him.
I never read it either.
What was that book called? Something with Satan in it?
Yeah, oh my gosh. And he seems like such an intelligent guy, too. Just imagine having to go underground, though, and hide for your life.
Mm-hmm. Oh, good one, Ben. He if I could save time in a bottle,
Oh, yeah.
first thing that I'd like to do.
That would probably be
That
the
would be a good
classic
one.
Yeah.
No, how about...
Oh, Jim Croce, according to tech support, died in a plane crash 50 years ago yesterday.
Dang!
Wow.
50 years ago?
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing. That
83.
really is.
That is
No,
amazing.
73. God, he died in 73? I
Guess so.
God.
God, he must have been pretty young. He really wrote a lot in a short amount of time.
Now, I'm sure you both remember Harry Chapin, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he's one of my favorites.
When I was doing my little magazine, I had this weirdo that kept writing me. He was writing poetry and stuff, but then he went off that he had killed Harry Chapin with his mind. He had made Harry Chapin fall in the bathtub and killed himself. And I was just like, man, this dude. So I thought he was just kidding around, but he would just talk about it all the time. And me and this other guy that was helping me. I don't know. Do you remember Alex Piner? Did you ever know him?
That name rings
We were
a
like,
bell.
man, this dude's sitting at home thinking he killed Harry Chapin with his mind. And made
Oh,
him
he was
fall.
distraught about it?
No, he really would tell me that he killed Harry Chapin with his mind.
But he was proud. Was he proud of it or
he would
distraught
just
about it?
he would just talk about it like he had really done
Was it
it.
intentional or accidental?
I guess it was intentional. I don't know. I can't remember now. But we were just like, what in the world? There's some people out there that have. And I don't even know if he died in the tub. Do you know? Did he fall in the tub?
No, I don't know. Harry Chapin?
Traffic wreck, I think.
Oh, really?
I think he got killed.
God, these guys don't have a good history.
Well, when you live in motion.
So
Die in
he was
motion.
Cats in the Cradle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's a good wordsmith too.
Gordon Lightfoot, or he's too
Love Gordon Lightfoot.
he's too Canadian for you?
No, I love Gordon Lightfoot.
Yeah, we got a lot of more people to cover.
No, he passed away too, didn't he? Early.
Yeah, he died
Recently.
Yeah, recently.
Recently. Okay.
Old age.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, he lived a nice long life.
One of them.
Boy, what a phenomenon that I believe he had one of the longest ballads to be a top 10 hit of all time, and probably because it was about an actual thing that had just happened, the wreck of the Edmund Fitzgerald. But you listen to this, you're like, this was a hit? How cool were we at one point, at least that week? We rose to a new level.
I remember that
It's
song.
amazing that song was as pop, but it's an amazing song. It's a great storytelling piece. I don't think I've ever written a song that really told a story like that. That's such a Dylan did that. It was good. He would take an actual historical event and tell the story.
Right.
What a great challenge. What historical event should I write a song about?
Let's see.
This is Baker Ball thing tomorrow.
The
Baker Ball
2023
results.
Baker Ball World National Championship. Harry Chapin died in a car accident on the way to a benefit concert.
Gosh.
Thank you, tech support. Thank you, Discord.
No wonder Jan Winter idolizes
Oh, Bean
him.
says Sundown would be a fun one for
Oh,
Gordon
definitely.
Lightfoot. That's a great song.
Definitely.
Or If You Could Read My Mind is probably
It's a classic.
one of the first ones I would go to.
Definitely.
Now, do kids nowadays still know those songs, do you think? I just know them from growing up. That was what I was always playing in the car. My parents were playing, but I wonder
Probably not. That's probably part of the reason I'm doing this project right now, is to try to...
Well, you're either bringing a new song or a new interpretation of something they've heard, but either way, it's mind expanding.
But it's definitely true that, I think for the first time, I don't know if that's true, but kids these days do not know these writers we just mentioned. I mean, they still know the Beatles and the Stones and some of the big
Right.
ones, but your Gordon Lightfoots and your Jim Croce's, I might have a certain bit of responsibility there, keeping their songs
Exactly.
alive in the world.
I agree.
I've been thinking about just taking this little portable amp I have and just showing up at places and asking them if they want some music, like Gloria's Papooses or Ciders, without, like not scheduling it, booking it, doing all that stuff, just showing up and being like, you guys want some music for the next hour or two? And just doing pop-up appearances like that.
one song only, the record of Edmund Fitzgerald. It'll take me like 33 minutes to get through it.
It's the remix, the extended version.
Damn, if that dude shows up again, tell him, no, we can't take this ship sinking all night long. We gotta get out.
That would be a fun song to try to tackle. The legend lives on from the Chippewa on down to the big lake they call Gitchigoo.
No, that's only. What other songs did he do?
Sundown, you better take care. If I
Oh,
find
yeah.
you've been creeping round my backstairs.
Oh, Lexus up there.
That is such a groove. You're right to snap on that, because some of these songs are just so groove oriented. Like that song, the lyrics are fun and everything, but it just has a vibe, and those are the hardest ones for me to pull off.
Oh, yeah.
When it's not just the song itself, but the track that just has this vibe or this groove. That drum section on Late in the Evening, whew, it's hard to just do away with that and pull it off.
Right.
Now you grew up sort of when rock and roll went through like the little short, choppy, nonsensical, have a good time lyrics. So then you were probably like still pretty young when they started really having something to say. Do you remember that?
It's
Well,
true.
I think you could just say that in 2 words. Bob Dylan.
Bob Dylan.
He changed it, but single-handedly.
Right.
He went from the Rolling Stones to Bob Dylan. Well, that's 2 completely different types of entertainment there. But there was just something so unique about his sound that no one had ever heard anything like it before.
It is true. Woody Guthrie, maybe a little bit, was a popular, but the idea in popular music that there would be a message or a deeper artistic expression or something like that. It's hard to think of anybody before Bob Dylan that was really writing like that.
No.
Everything was more novelty, escapism, kind of.
Yeah. And he opened the poetry side of it up so much more. The lyrics were just so minimal in the past, and then it's like I was saying about country music. Well, popular music was like that too. You only needed one good line,
Right.
and then you'd repeat it 34 times, and it was the beat more than anything
Right,
else.
right.
And so,
And you could take nonsense songs and just through the production of the track make it so fun that you don't even notice it's not really a very good song.
oh yeah.
Just the way it
Yeah.
sounds, the way it feels is so fun.
Remember all that talk about Louie and the talking dirty and everything? The bottom line was nobody knew what they were saying.
Right.
But the song was great. It was the #1 song because they liked music.
Just the feel of it, right?
Yeah, they liked the beat. They didn't.
Apparently, the FBI opened up a case file on that song.
Is
They
that right?
actually there was congressmen that were concerned because there was this big rage around this song, and no one could understand what they were saying, so they just assumed the worst. Well, there must be some communist kind of drug-ridden problems going on here. It's a covert, coded message. They investigated the song.
Just bad
Probably
microphone.
came to find out that the guy himself didn't remember what he said.
It's funny because CNN last week, maybe it was early this week, had a special about Little Richard and how, like, he first came out and just, out of the box. He was just wild. But he went to the studio one time. They were trying to make him sound like Ray Charles. They said, you have a lot of talent, but we want this, subdued thing. So they said, it's just not working, go out. And he came back in and he started, tutti frutti, but the lyrics were tutti frutti good booty. And it was like a totally like sexual song. And so there was a lady that worked there that was like a writer, and they said, you just have to clean all his lyrics up. So she just listened to the song, and they said, all right, we're going to play it again. And she changed it to like Tutti Frutti, Hey Rudy, or whatever. They totally rewrote it. They said when he would do it live, like for black audiences, it was like Tutti Frutti, good booty. He's like tearing away at it. But then they were showing, like, imagine this. They were showing him drenched in sweat, just laying it all out. Then they have Pat Boone up there, Tutti Frutti. Hey Rudy, like Pat Boone did all covers of all his songs. They were like, oh my God, just to dumb the music down to make it presentable to people. It was just it was crazy. I mean, he was just, oh my God. I mean, I can't even imagine what people thought of him back in the 50s, man. With the
was so
makeup,
influential.
the makeup on, and the hair all back, and people were yelling at him, you're beautiful, you're beautiful. It's like, you never heard anybody call anybody a man beautiful. I was the first beautiful man. He was like,
Flamboyant.
I know, he was crazy.
He was flamboyant. What a great word.
Huge impact on music. The Beatles credit him. I mean, it was just like lighting a fire under the skillet of rock and roll and what could be possible.
He upset the status quo.
Yeah, which is what rock and roll is all about to a certain level.
And it's so weird how nowadays you can walk around looking like basically whatever you want to, and people might judge you and look at you, and nobody's really going to come after you. Just imagine being him back then, walking around doing all that stuff. And I was, oh my gosh. One of the interviews they had, he went after Elvis Presley. It was like him and Bo Diddley sitting there, and Little Richard just went off, and Bo Diddley keeps like holding his arm, like calm down, calm down. We're on TV, you gotta behave,
Little Richard.
Did y'all hear about the? So I'm sitting here the other night, and I open up Twitter, and I'm scrolling down. All of a sudden, there's this big announcement, breaking news. There's just a loose jet flying over American skies.
Oh, I did see that.
The pilot ejected out of the thing, and this $100 million F-35 or whatever it's called military jet was just flying unmanned over American skies the other night. And it crashed somewhere in Georgia or North Carolina or something.
I didn't hear.
Did y'all hear about that?
I heard that old Marjorie Taylor Greene was having a fit. Oh, blaming it on the Democrats or something.
Well, I'm not a fan of hers, but it is all theories are valid until they tell us what the heck happened.
Why do they gotta jump out?
There's pretty interesting silence on as far as have you heard any information on that, Lex? I haven't heard any plausible explanation yet, which makes me dip into my conspiracy pockets for possible explanations. Because, I don't know. That thing could have been taken control of remotely by a foreign government. Hacked. That would be a reason not to explain it. But it's a pretty interesting thing. Their explanation today, very cryptic, but they said it was due to bad weather. $100 million military jet.
Now, where did he jump out, and how far did it fly without him? Do you know?
That's a good question.
You don't know what that was?
But it was such a funny, because for hours, there's just a jet up there somewhere. Like, everybody keep an eye on the sky, because what a weird story.
Guy, he's got a lot of explaining to do.
Yeah, I haven't seen him interviewed or any. Yeah, we haven't heard from him yet, which is another mystery.
Who was the was that Gary Powers, the guy that was captured in Russia? Was that his name?
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
How do y'all? What's this story?
Oh, it's like a long time ago.
Francis Gary Powers.
Yeah,
Why do you know this?
It's like he was huge.
It
Like
was one of the first stories about
his-
outer space.
he was over in Russia and his plane went down and he jumped out.
Yes,
and the Russians
he was
captured
on
him.
one of those real high spy planes.
Oh,
What do they call it?
when are we talking about?
When?
Like the 50s.
60s.
Oh.
We're talking about early on.
Gotcha.
And his plane went down. He was arrested, of course, and they kept him. They let him go.
He was like one of those like the spy planes way up. I don't think they even knew he was up there till something went wrong,
Yeah.
and he had to crash the plane. And then they used him as a political hostage.
Did we get him back?
We did with it. Wasn't he like a real hard ass? He wouldn't tell anything about what was going on or anything. Didn't he pretty much bite his tongue and went through
I
everything?
don't think he talked or anything,
Yeah.
but I think we got him back,
Yeah.
but I can't remember the story really. I don't know why. We know Gary Powers. I do remember that name.
Sounds like a classic comic book dude, Gary Powers.
And then Sergeant Rock went in to
Maybe
save
that's
him.
the song I should write. Gary Powers.
The Gary Powers.
This is the wreck of whatever his plane was called. And proud Gary Powers would not talk. I would love it if you did a song about Gary Powers. People walking around with like Nathan Moore, the picture of Gary Powers on the thing. American hero.
I'll definitely, I don't know, think I'll write a song about it, but I'll Wikipedia that.
It's a very
later
cool
tonight.
story. They caught him and proved that we had planes up and we're spying on him and all that stuff.
Yeah, we were caught with our hand in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
You know, a fun family memory I had last night. I was thinking about it, but remember when, I think you did this with all your kids, but if Dad found something he thought I would like, got me a present out in the world, the way he would give me the present is he would hand me a piece of paper, and his piece of paper would be like, got your hand in the cookie jar. So I'd take that clue and go to the cookie jar and reach in. There'd be another note.
Oh, man.
And it would be like, you better feed the fish. So I'd go to the aquarium and there'd be another note on the fish food. And I would go, it would take me through his whole apartment or his whole house, following these clues till I finally arrived at the present that he had gotten me. Is that something that was done for you? If parents out there, hot tip. When I was a kid, this is some of the most fun I ever had. It was so exciting. Whenever you did that to me, I was just giddy with it, and it was wonderful, wonderful thing.
I think it came from the fact that I bought cheap gifts. And
Shoestrings, Dad, I can't believe it.
and I was often
Shoestrings.
Tootsie Rolls.
God,
You got 4 Tootsie Rolls, Dad? Thank you so
thank
much.
you so much.
So that was the least I could do was to put a little energy
You
into
knew what I
it.
appreciated by the time I got there.
Exactly. Be so hungry you'd eat anything. But plus,
That's cool.
I think if the truth were told, marijuana would have something to do with it too. I'll be honest with you. I had nothing to lose.
Nathan, I'm telling you, I have no idea where I put it. I can't remember.
Yeah, you don't hear about the ones I never found.
But it was so successful. Didn't you do it with Dan and Joe?
Oh
as well?
yeah,
That
they
became
both,
a family tradition.
They loved it. Yeah.
So where did you come up with that?
I have no idea.
No idea.
I think it just grew out of doing it a little bit, like one or two, and
You're the original
I'd do
Kris
some of them would be
Kringle.
8 steps. You know, it'd take an hour to find it, and we were having fun watching you run around.
Well, that's cool. That's a good memory.
Looks like it's that time again, folks. Another wonderful show.
Oh, great!
Appreciate you both for doing this.
Here it is,
Yeah.
right off the top of his head. He's gonna do the new hit, Gary Powers, American Hero.
He didn't have superpowers. He didn't have. Come gather around me, children, a story I will tell about Gary Powers. Who fell.
In our darkest hours, you always remember Gary Powers.
Just think of Gary Powers. Gosh, I don't know what song to do with today's
as he
show.
fell to the Russian soil.
I do one of mine. It's true the talking heads in the news just want to warn you. Everything is parsed, and yeah, but it could get worse, just to keep us tuning in forever. Somewhere a soldier's sitting in the dead of summer, in the ocean on a platform, in the eye of a hurricane. We came, but we could not get it together. Now everybody's gone a little crazy, and when you're crazy, you don't even know you're crazy, 'cause you're crazy. Now this should come as no surprise. 2 glazed donut eyes, like balloons that we untie, might just float away, come what may, be gone. People keep asking me rhetorical questions, and then talking before I finish my heartfelt reply. So much sometimes I think I must be. I mean, everybody's gone a little crazy, and when you're crazy, you don't even know you're crazy, 'cause you're crazy. Now all the boats and planes, cars and trains, to me are invisible. I only see the people as they go flying by. Can you believe that? Asleep up in the sky. Multiplied we divide the indivisible, spend all our time fudging the numbers to make it come out equal, no matter what or who we have to hide. And that's why everybody's gone a little crazy. And when you're crazy, you don't even know you're crazy, 'cause you're crazy. A little crazy. Wow. Thank you so much, everybody. Love you. See you next time.
Do good.
Hang in there.
Yay.
Good one.
I'm going to miss Kether coming down now to tell us how he did.
Yep.
We're not going to know. It might have been their worst show yet or best one. We'll never know.
I don't know. I don't know what I would do if she came down and said, "Oh my God, that was terrible." I think it's about the end of this. Y'all reached your.
I wonder what we'd have to do to get her to be that honest with us. It's like, well, that was awkward.
Just sitting here like looking at it.
You had to stay on that divorced women thing like